Russia collusion investigation did become a witch hunt. That is a topic of today's op-ed live. So actually, USA Today came out with the same title, and then it added the Inspector General report showed this. The investigation quickly got off track and ran into dead ends. It should have never led to a special counsel investigation that convulsed the country for 2 years. It really shouldn't have happened. You know, the Trump-Russia collusion thing, when it immediately came out, I immediately said this is a hoax. It's nothing. Our viewers and readers from Op-Ed Live, they would have known that this whole thing was a sham. It was nothing but a sham, and it's only a sham. And we, American taxpayers, we wasted our money and time for this. So Justice Department, Michael Horowitz, he's the Inspector General for the Department of Justice. He said he found that there were sufficient grounds under FBI guidelines to initiate the probe, okay? Initiate. But did not find any evidence of, and he also did not find any evidence of political motivation behind it. But right after Michael Horowitz claimed that, John Durham, United States attorney from Connecticut, John Durham, immediately came out with a statement saying, we do not agree. He said he's not agreeing with Michael Horowitz's decision that there was no political motivation behind it. Probably because he knows more. Probably he knows the shenanigans that the CIA pulled in probably Italy or Great Britain about what happened to George Papadopoulos and Carter Page overseas. Probably that's what they know. I believe Michael Horowitz knows it, but his investigation was supposed to be limited to FBI, not CIA. So he had to come to conclusion only about the wrongdoings that was done by the FBI. So this is the investigation. This is what USA Today came out with. Okay, USA Today is definitely not a conservative paper. There are so many left-wing papers, actually, liberal papers or a media group that admitted that this whole thing was a sham. The Inspector General report shows that. And if you read that, the investigation began with a vague claim. The claimed predicate for launching the investigation was a report from a foreign official about a conversation with George Papadopoulos. Okay? According to the official, Papadopoulos suggested that the Trump team had received some kind of suggestion that Russia could help with the anonymous release of information damaging to Hillary Clinton and President Barack Obama. So that's why they initiated. They heard something. So this whole thing is based on a hearsay. It continues. The FBI still needs major reforms. That's what the Justice Department investigation recommended, okay? Papadopoulos was not a key figure in the Trump campaign, okay? He was not. You have to, if you read the mainstream media, you think George Papadopoulos or Carter Page, these two figures were probably the leaders of the Trump campaign. That is not true. That is not true. They were pretty much volunteers, okay? Papadopoulos was not a key figure in the Trump campaign. He was part of a letterhead committee of experts that presidential candidates put together to make it appear that they have some foreign policy chops, okay? Because when Donald Trump did an endorsement interview with the Washington Post, they asked him, hey, who are your foreign relations advisors? And Trump pulled out a sheet of paper, and in that paper, it had the names of Carter Page and George Papadopoulos, and that's how they knew it. I think probably Washington Post leaked that. They told their deep state buddies, and probably that's why the FBI and CIA decided to spy on them. Okay, that's how I see it. But soon, things go off track. Fair enough, but from that point on, the investigation got ahead of the facts. Okay. The FBI decided to open investigations into 4 Trump campaign officials. 4. That's Papadopoulos, Paul Manafort, Michael Flynn, and Carter Page. Manafort and Flynn were key figures in the Trump campaign, and Page was another letterhead expert. Okay. secretly taped conversations. That hardly warrants what happened next. The FBI used sources to interact with Papadopoulos and Page and tape their conversations. A source similarly interacted with a senior Trump campaign official who was not a target of the campaign. The IG report says that this didn't amount to spying on the Trump campaign. Okay? And these secretly taped conversations revealed nothing supporting a collusion theory. So what do you do after that? After you record somebody secretly and you found out they have nothing to do with Russia, you should stop your investigation. You should stop your investigation. But what did they do? What did the FBI do? They pulled a shenanigan, right? They used the Steele dossier. You know, the PP dossier? They used that fake fabricated dossier to wiretap Carter Page. They did not stop. They should have stopped. Okay? It's horrible what they did. Even with all the exculpatory evidence, they kept moving forward. Why? Because they wanted to spy on the Trump campaign. And you know what? I don't think it's just Trump. I do not think it was just Trump. Where did George Papadopoulos work before he joined the Trump campaign? It was Ben Carson's campaign. I believe the FBI even spied on him then. Okay? So what do I believe? I believe it wasn't just the Trump campaign that got spied upon. I think it was Ben Carson, probably Ted Cruz. Who knows? Who knows? Because if you read the Inspector General report, it exactly mentions that the FBI was pretty much spying before and after Carter Page joined the Trump campaign. Okay? Nevertheless, the FBI investigators wanted a wiretap on Page under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, which required probable cause that Page was in fact a Russian agent. Originally, the lawyers in the department pushed back, but relented once the Steele dossier came across the transom. Misrepresentations to justify surveillance. The FBI never verified the Steele dossier claims. You know what? They knew that it was fake, but they still wanted to spy on Trump. So they extended it 3 times. They got 90-day warrant to spy on Carter Page, but they continued 3 more times. And who was it that signed upon it 3 times? It was James Comey. The FBI never verified the Steele dossier claims before using them to justify a wiretap on Page. In fact, it quickly had reason to doubt them, since a source for Steele told it that Steele had embellished his work. Okay? In fact, it quickly had reason to doubt them, since a source for Steele told it that Steele had embellished his work. So Christopher Steele's source, which is called a subsource, told the agents, hey, we can't verify it. Then they should have stopped spying on Trump, right, on the Trump campaign. So the IG report found 17 material misrepresentations or omissions in the Page FISA application and renewals, including that one of the nefarious interactions cited was debriefed by the CIA, who was using Page as a source. Okay, after nearly a year of FISA surveillance, Carter Page has never been charged with anything. What did they do? You know, they spied on him for almost a year and no charges. Other than the suggestion, the only evidence of possible collusion that has surfaced from this and the Mueller report was the willingness of Donald Trump Jr. to have a meeting that he thought was about receiving dirt from the Russians on Clinton. But Trump Jr. was punked and agreed to a meeting on false pretenses. This is the USA Today saying this, okay? Now we have to all realize the whole Russia collusion scandal, that this whole thing was a nonsense. Like I told you every day, like on every episode, I told you, emphasized it, that the Russia collusion thing is nothing but a hoax. Shenanigans, somebody fabricated it. I believe it was the Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign who were behind all this. They paid this dossier, right? And I believe it wasn't just Trump. I believe there were more candidates. Let's see what happens, okay? The John Durham is investigating this whole shenanigan. He changed this investigation from an administrative review to a criminal investigation. So let's see what happens, okay? Let's check out some news headlines and Twitter feeds. Okay, Trump tweeted this: the new USA Today poll just out has me leading all of the Democrat contenders. That's hard to believe since the fake news and 3-year scams and witch hunts, as phony as they are, just never seem to end. The American people are smart. They see the great economy and everything else. Let's move on. Senator Josh Hawley, the Dems don't have anything. This whole thing is a joke, and it's time to get the president exonerated. The House has no evidence of any impeachable offense. There's nothing there. And they didn't even charge a crime. They've had their, let's move on. They've had their chance. They've had their kangaroo court. They've had their circuits for weeks and months. There just isn't anything there. And there's no way I'm voting for impeachment for somebody who hasn't committed any impeachable offenses. Let's move on. Trump tweeted this: Dow gains 10,000th point since Trump's election. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up more than 54% since President Trump's election, when I believe it happened because he pulled out of the Paris Accord, deregulation, trade deals. He did everything. He tried to do everything that he could within his power to improve American economy, and he brought back 600,000 manufacturing jobs, which Obama said it would be impossible to bring back. You need a magic wand. Trump didn't have a magic wand, but he pulled it off. So it is what it is. Let's move on. Steph tweeted this: you know why President Trump and Rudy Giuliani had to look into United States corruption in Ukraine? Because this happened while Hunter Biden was raking in millions, and no one in our justice system saw a problem with it. Let's move on. Rudy Giuliani tweeted this. By the way, he's one of the most righteous person out there politically. I believe Rudy Giuliani is a good man. He tweeted this. I'm talking about in politics, okay? Dems' impeachment for innocent conduct is intended to obstruct the below investigations of Obama-era corruption. Billions of laundered money, billions, mostly United States money, widely misused, extortion, bribery, DNC collusion with Ukraine to destroy candidate Trump, much more to come. Let's move on. Rudy Giuliani tweeted this: evidence revealed that corruption in 2016 was so extensive, it was POTUS's duty to ask for United States-Ukraine investigation. I really applaud President Trump for doing that. It was right for him to do it. It doesn't matter whether the Democrats want to pull off this shenanigan impeachment. He did the right thing to do. He had to do this, okay? If he would not have done it, I would have been very, very disappointed about it. Of course, you gotta root out these corruptions. Impeachment is part of Dem cover-up. Extortion, bribery, and money laundering goes beyond Biden's. Does it go to Obama? I don't know. Also, DNC collusion with Ukraine to destroy candidate Trump. Let's move on. Play the Trump card tweeted this: breaking, former director Comey apparently was never actually working for the FBI. He could have shot down the entire Russian collusion narrative Hillary invented to target Trump on the day he made this honesty post. What did James Comey post? Look at that. I want the American people to know this truth. The FBI is honest. The FBI is strong, and the FBI is and always will be independent. Let's move on. Play the Trump card. Tweeted this: the only thing that never leaked from our 17 gazillion intel agencies over the last 3 years was the fact that Trump had nothing to do with collusion of any kind, and that was not an accident. Dirty Cop Comey knew before the first FISA was issued. He knew that the whole thing was a sham, but he still went through it and got the FISA warrant to wiretap Carter Page, right? Let's move on. Charlie Kirk tweeted this: Joe Biden's son, $50,000 a month oil job, no prior experience. Hillary Clinton's daughter, 600,000 news job. She got a reporter job from NBC, right? And she got paid $600,000. Wow. I don't know anybody who got that on their first job. Right? John Kerry's daughter, $9 million in no competition contracts from the State Department. Wow, right? No competition, huh? What do they all have in common? Prominent Obama administration parents. Let's move on. Okay, this is our last tweet for today. Ronald McDaniel. James Comey was the head of the FBI. The buck stops with him. Claiming it was sloppiness on behalf of the FBI to obtain a FISA warrant is a bogus excuse. Comey owes both Trump and Carter Page an apology. Probably John Durham has a different idea. Well, that's our show for today. Our show is not about left or right, it's about right or wrong. To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.